ability to be great. You have to be willing to activate the great from within. It starts with you, and it starts right now. Yo, welcome back to Activate the Great with Mr. Tyler Davis.
GT, how are you?
Yeah, we're here.
Yeah,
doing
man.
what we do.
Yep.
You know, just paying attention to what's flying in the field.
Reaching up, grabbing it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, something's always going on.
If you're paying attention,
well, you got to be
you're looking for it.
tuned in.
That's it, man. Like, you
Yeah.
see stuff that stands out. It's supposed to stand out to you, may not stand out to anybody else, or maybe just a few. There's a
Well,
message that was there for you.
Right, for you. And the cool thing is, I mean, we take it upon ourselves to share with everybody else.
Yeah.
I mean, just because we know if it hits us, there's likely somebody else out there going through the same thing.
Oh, for sure. You know, you can get something to grab somebody's attention for a minute.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Maybe stop them in their tracks and then catch themselves a little bit here and there.
Right, and that's why it's so powerful that you guys are sharing it.
And
sharing
liking
the
it.
message
Oh.
and liking it, because we don't just do this for us. It's for everybody. It's like something that we're called to do.
Sure.
If that makes sense.
And we really need everybody to hit the subscribe button too, man, because that's, you know, you can track views, you can see these things through our efforts on YouTube,
Yep.
Spotify, iTunes,
Yeah.
and all these platforms are great, but subscriptions are, you know, how we keep score.
Right.
You know, and how we measure certain things. I mean, outside of the content, because the content's fire anyway, and we just want to get it in front of more ears.
Exactly.
You know, eyes
Yep.
and ears.
Yep.
Come on.
It ain't even about us.
No. But it is about the message and messages, you know, and
Always.
we get opportunities to be mediums, and, you know, we're going to, you know, make the most of it at the
Yeah.
end of the day.
Right. That's
You know,
it, man. If
hey,
it
why
speaks
not?
to us, it's going to speak to somebody else.
You're kind of including all different types of like perspectives and thoughts and vibes and messages and all this inclusion.
Exactly.
Right?
Right.
And then it's like, what do you do with it? It's a gift, though. You can give that gift of inclusion to somebody.
Oh, man. Yeah. Just like every day. That's why it's called the present. Right?
Oh.
As cliche as that might sound.
And being present is part of inclusion.
Yeah.
You know, the opposite of isolating somebody, the opposite of casting someone out,
Yes.
takes way more work than you think.
Oh, man. And we all want to be part of a tribe. We all
Yeah.
want to be included.
For sure. I mean, it's a
that's
human
it.
trait.
Yes. Why do animals move in packs? Why do fish swim in schools? I mean,
Safety.
yeah, man.
Right? Interaction. And these species on the planet that do this and commingle and co-invest collectively and as a
Survive.
group survive. They have a tendency to survive. They have a tendency to evolve faster because they have more nutrients. You have more resources. You have more things at your disposal. So, you know, we have the ability to focus on that and realize there is a gift within inclusion. So today, 3 ways to give the gift of inclusion.
Yeah, man.
It's not always the way you think either.
No.
And there's not just limited to 3 ways. There's probably 16, 17, 25 different ways.
Right.
But these are just 3 ways that stood out, okay? So 3 ways to give the gift of inclusion. Number 1, pay attention to the opportunities to do so. I mean, if you're not paying attention to the opportunities to do so, how can you say you're focused on it? Default number 1 is be focused on inclusion, for one. Pay attention to your opportunities to do so, and then finish the nail. We act on it.
Yeah, top of mind awareness is the first step, but then like you said, executed action, like follow through.
We have these opportunities and we convince ourselves that we second guess. That's what ends up happening. You're like, your natural inclination is to do something with that.
Right.
There's something that stops some people and you just don't do it for whatever it is.
Right.
You know what I mean? Everybody's got a different reason that may or may not occur.
The fear of standing out, whatever
Right.
it might be. Yeah,
mean-
but I mean, that's where we talk about being open to the unknown. Like,
Sure.
who knows? You might get included in something really cool.
Well, it is. So I'm glad you said that, because if you're really just kind of being present and being top of mind and aware of this, you know, inclusionary mindset, you will get these opportunities to act on it. And it's fun. It's fun just to kind of realize there's something bigger at work here.
There's always more at work.
Allow it to be, right?
Yeah. I
Go
mean,
with the flow, you
and
know?
it just feels right.
It does feel
when
right.
you include others. I mean, my goodness, even from something like if merging traffic, you know, if 3 lanes are funneling down to 1, if you let somebody in, you know, you're gonna feel way worse if you just be the person that keeps your eyes straight forward and doesn't let anybody in.
Oh,
Like,
dude.
come on,
For
include 'em.
real. Hold the door open for somebody. Go out of your way to do something. You know, some people would even call this a random act of kindness.
Yeah. Or, I mean,
Right.
I think all of us can relate to that situation, whether it's middle school or high school, whatever it was for you. Like the person over there sitting alone, get up and go include them.
No doubt. And right now with all the press, and I'm glad to see it with mental health being at the forefront of a lot of
Yeah.
adolescents
Right.
now. It's a real thing.
For
Okay.
sure.
And you take the megaphone called social media, and everything's now, your business is out there now. Everybody's, you know, giving you
It's a
feedback.
Right.
Right. Like, you know, you can really just kind of put a lot of yourself out there quickly right now. So these acts of kindness or these opportunities to include people, it's going to go a long way. And I promise you that if you focus on inclusion, you may just have done something nice enough to somebody to get them to not, in their life. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Right?
I mean, it can truly be that powerful.
No doubt about it.
It really can. You have no idea what somebody is dealing with, and they could be on the edge.
Oh, and they keep it close to the vest. You know what I mean? People just don't go and wear this stuff on their sleeve. They may be cantankerous or, or moody or whatever, but they're not just going to say, I have mental health issues.
No. I mean, we as a society have been, chin up.
Oh, yeah.
Chin up. Deal with it.
But, I think that kind of just, that's an opportunity to shine a light on the fact that we all kind of have some kind of mental health thing we're working on. 85% of families are dysfunctional. You think somehow, like, you made it out unscathed? Come on, man. Like, that's what I'm getting at is...
We all have a Cousin Eddie.
Yeah. And even the part of Cousin Eddie that's in our mind, that's part of our DNA, you know what I mean? That's just in there, too, because you had similar experiences and you can only get so far away from the fire. You're still getting warm. You're still getting the effects or feeling the effects of that quote-unquote fire, wherever that family dynamic may have been. But we really need to pay attention to the opportunities to do so. Mm-hmm. I mean, the amazing feeling that you just changed that person. Maybe they had a paradigm shift. Maybe they're having a really unbelievably manic Monday, right?
Right.
And, what you did and how you went out of your way to help them really just kind of sent them on a different direction.
And it's crazy because sometimes people can look at that as when we do so much for others to help them, it's almost selfish. But that's not a bad thing.
No.
Because it's that feeling of gratitude that it opens up in your heart and in your mind, and it opens you up to doing more, and it opens them up.
Yeah, I would say that's a nice spin on you benefit from it as a byproduct, but you're making that your process.
Exactly.
Because how it makes you feel.
Right.
Right, and it's a good way to feel. It's a good vibration, good energy you're putting out there. So, number one, pay attention to the opportunities to give the gift of inclusion, and then act on it. Number two, this is what we want you to stop doing. Okay, stop making separating statements. Right. I'm guilty, man. I've done it, man. I've dropped that verbal death blow more times than I even care to admit, and it's just really easy for me. And and you grow up a certain way,
right?
Okay,
words cut deep.
They do, and again, back to what we were just talking about. You never really know what someone's dealing with. They could be your closest friend and they have thoughts that they don't share with you. They want to be part of this inclusion, so they sit here and take this shit from you, okay, because they want to be part of the group.
Yep. Or like for me, I used to fall into the trap where I would just be the first one to clown on myself just to get it out of the way.
Oh, yeah.
And then in turn separating myself right off the bat. Didn't even give myself a chance.
I'm glad you brought that up, man. Separating statements, they start with doing it to yourself.
Yeah.
They start with the, stopping the self-inflicted wounds. And, and I didn't even really think about that when we were kind of coming up with that, but you're absolutely right. Why are we doing that? If we're going to do that to ourselves, you're going to do it to other people.
Right. I mean, it's the law of attraction. I mean, kind of like the canvas. The body, the mind doesn't know the difference between good, bad. I mean, it's the words that we use that create that separation.
Oh, that's what Bruce Lee was saying. That's why it's called spelling.
Right. It's
you're casting a spell.
Yes.
And we see the world as we are also. So if we're making separating statements about ourselves, you guarantee that you're going to do that with other people too when you have an opportunity. I mean, you start being the jokester and kind of doing that, and and you're joking with yourself, because I've done this a lot too. But you, in turn, share that with other people. You bestow that gift upon others.
Exactly,
if you will.
And they may not have even realized that or been clued into that, but you brought it to the forefront of their mind.
When you're making these separating statements, you have to focus on not casting people out.
Right. Because when you choose those words and you say those separating statements, whether it's about yourself or them, that's the opposite of inclusion. I mean, they automatically feel secluded, like they're on an island.
Yeah, or lesser.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and I've done lately, I was like, kind of circle back on some stuff like, hey, man, I'm sorry about that. I was really just messing with you. But really what I need to get better at, and it's been really at the forefront of my mind, is, paying attention to these separating statements. And even more than that, it starts with thoughts. Then you get bold enough to say it out loud.
Right.
So you really need to stop separating thoughts about yourself and others. And then by default, you will be more inclusive.
Yep.
You will stop being hyper-focused on having to be right. Okay, what are you really arguing about? You know what I mean? And I struggled with this still struggle with this. It's like, what are we doing this for? This particular bullet point's about what not to do.
I was just going to say, man, that I would say if you guys are catching anything out of this message, it's that don't say the statement with the intention of being right.
Oh, yeah. Don't just like get the last jab.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're not De La Hoya. You're not
Right.
Muhammad Ali.
Right.
You ain't no butterfly. You ain't stinging like a bee.
No.
But your words do sting.
They do.
Okay. And you got to watch it, So, give the gift of inclusion by being thoughtful, by stop making separating thoughts. And you are manifesting and making those thoughts, okay, by allowing it to happen. And then when you get bold enough, it translates to words. So, number 3, be genuinely interested in other people and be willing to hold that space. You want to make someone feel like they're vibing or they're included, pay attention to them. Be genuinely interested in what they're saying.
Right.
Hold that space. Like you said earlier, be present.
Yeah. I mean, one of the most powerful phrases I've ever learned is, tell me more about that.
Sure.
Like, it's my goodness. Like, that shows genuine interest. And, hey, I'm including you in this. Let's get down with this. Like, tell me more about that.
Oh, right.
How do I make myself included in what you got going on?
When you bring genuine curiosity, into a conversation or into an engagement of any kind, they're automatically going to feel like they're part of something. And that's what you want. Like we do these events. We want people, we want them to be very inclusive. We want people to feel like they are part of an experience.
Right.
You can do that with conversations too. You can do that with your interactions, small and large, throughout the day if you want it.
Yep. And it's amazing, but like genuinely being interested and listening with the intent to learn. It's like not just sitting there with your mouth closed waiting for your turn to speak, but really intentionally listening.
Oh yeah, and sometimes if you're really getting into the weeds, not in the weeds like in a negative way, but if you're really diving deep into something, maybe you just ask permission to have a little notepad out and scribble a few things down that you circle back to, just so that allows you to stay in the moment more effectively.
Right.
Whatever it takes to hold that space. We say that a lot. We do that with loans. We do that with crucial conversations. You have to be good at holding that space. You have to let this message land. And if something didn't go quite the way you thought, you get an opportunity to own that.
Yep.
But you're holding that space. You're not trying to escape from it. Knowing people that you genuinely care and that you're genuinely wanting a solution, that's inclusion. You're not saying, you're not blaming anything on someone else. You're just hey, look, this could have went differently, or hey, this was great. I was glad to be a part of this. I was glad to be a part of it no matter what. Right. It didn't go quite the way we wanted at some points, but we got it done, and we wanted to communicate, every step of the way with you, and here we are.
Yep. It's not us against them. We're all in it together. It
is, and when sometimes folks just feel like no one recognizes them or acknowledges them, and if you go out of your way to acknowledge somebody. Like a lot of us have the ability to read people. We all really do. It's just how much of it you use or you choose to use day in and day out. You can choose to lift people's spirits up. You can choose to go out of your way when you're vibing something from somebody. You tell they can need a little pick-me-up. You give them that pick-me-up.
Right. Yeah, man.
I like your sock selection today. Rocking it. Yeah. Man, I like how you pulled that together.
Something little.
Dude,
that's all it takes.
It matters, okay? And I think you want to get really deep and granular with this inclusion. Focus on inclusion. It's one of the best gifts that you can give. It won't cost you anything.
Nope.
Other than your willingness to do so.
Yeah, it's in your budget.
It's in your budget. This one really hit me. I was reading an article about a story about Coach K, and giving away a basketball ticket to, a special needs individual and what that did for his life. And it was a span over 30 years, and it was just phenomenal. And in that article, the lady said the gift of inclusion, and that's where this came from. It really stood out to me, and I feel like we were supposed to talk about it.
Yeah, needed expanded.
It needed expanded on because it's not just a random act of kindness. I think that gets overdone. Gift of inclusion, and it does matter. So 3 ways to give the gift of inclusion. Pay attention to the opportunities to do so and act on it. What not to do: stop making separating statements and being hyper-focused on being right. Separating thoughts and separating statements are the opposite of inclusion. So here's something not to do.
Yep.
And then lastly, be genuinely interested in other people and be willing to hold that space. Talk to these folks. Let them know that you're there. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just listen.
Just listen. And don't be off in like a different planet. Just be there.
Yep.
Man, use this, the gift of inclusion.
Yeah, man.
We'll see you. Want to take a quick minute to thank our sponsor, ccmindiana.com, for all your mortgage needs. Very competitive, ready to rock, ready to help you be a pre-approved buyer that can compete. Ready to get pre-approved for your next mortgage? Stop by ccmindiana.com and see how we can help.